We're coming in again here on a Sunday night. I'm laying out of church, I guess, and I don't know about the rest of the riffraff in here. We got the man from down under with us, but anyway, I'm speaking with Phillips Run Drip and Bubble Company, and we've had a good week this week. But anyway, we're coming back. We're supposed to have Tom Sarmento on today. He is the man behind the General Lee. All you folks out there that's ever watched Dukes of Hazzard, I know all you Mopar guys know that they destroyed a lot of Dodge Chargers. And this guy's the guy responsible for it. So anyway, and we got the man from down under, man. We'll do like that. Tell us what's going on, man, down under in Australia.
Yeah, how you going, everyone? We're just doing the normal. Nearly finished this stinking Bedford. It's on the other side of me. I think I'm a bit burnt out on it. I think really it's a day's work, but I don't know. I've got my lip out. I don't know if it's because I'm scared to try to finish it or what. But
no, don't. Here we go. We got Tom in now.
Here you go. You're on my camera phone.
There you go. I sent that to your other one, and so anyway.
Well, I got about 4 other emails, but I never got one from you.
Well, it'll probably come through in the morning if it works like anything else. But anyway,
there we go. You know, it's a little slow, maybe from where you are to North Carolina.
There you go, Tom. We've got some folks in here with us. We got a man here from Australia from Copperhead Customs. He's in here with us tonight. Then we got Sean Thomas from the Sean Thomas Fatty. What? How do you? I keep messing it up. Sean Fatty Tire Guy Thomas.
Sean Fat Tire Guy Thomas.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
And then we got Eastern Hot Rod Magazine on with us. He's over here with us. But anyway, we were talking a little bit about this. But anyway, this I'm trying to run this thing by myself, so we're gonna do the best we can. But anyway,
well, you know, I'm a dinosaur in a computer world.
I'm used to having somebody mashing the buttons for me, you know, and I just sit and talk. But anyway,
that's a good way.
Yeah. Now, have you ever been to Australia?
No, but I got a friend over there that's a big Mopar man, Keith Clues. He's in Seven Hills, Australia.
Right. How far is that from you?
That's right.
I think that's down in Sydney.
Sydney?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is in Sydney.
That's the state underneath us, probably 800 kilometres. So what's that in miles? 500 miles away.
Well, that's a long way.
Gee. Yeah, it is. Well, everything's a long way in Australia.
Yeah.
If you don't get killed or eaten by something in between the trip, man, that's the only problem.
That's true.
Because it's death-defying just to go get your mail.
It's not as bad as what everyone thinks.
How far are you from Cooper Pedy?
No, that's a long way. That's down in down South Australia. Yeah, so that's where I was from originally. Well, not Cooper Pedy, but South Australia. So, yeah, that's probably 2,000 kilometres. So, I don't know, 150, 1,500 miles probably.
Yeah.
Did you live underground?
That's a long.
No, I didn't live in Cooper Pedy. I just lived in South Australia. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All these guys won't know because we're all pretty much Mopar men. You know, everybody likes them Mopars, and I guess you probably tore up more of them than anybody I know.
Well, we did take our share of those 69, 68 Chargers.
So let me ask you something now. I know we get into the General Lee and the Dukes of Hazzard and all that stuff, but now you actually worked in a TV series before that as a mechanic. You were on Quincy, I think, and some more more series.
BJ and the Bear.
Okay. So was you on
BJ and the Bear.
Was you on it for the entire season or just a short time?
I was only there for the second season. And we got laid off during the hiatus, and I went over to Warner Brothers.
Okay.
I think the best part about BJ and the Bear was the monkey and the truck.
Yeah, you know, we always got new tractors, but you know those trailers, they took a beating. They look really nice, but on the inside, those floors are just rotted. You took your life in your hands, you know, trying to walk across that 53-foot trailer.
Really? They're that bad, huh?
That bad.
Well,
Was
now,
that for like? I'm sure you, because you're going through a lot of them. You're buying trailers that the shipping companies no longer wanted because you're using them for profit.
Well, they were old trailers that Universal had, and I mean, the brakes on the thing, everything was just rusted up solid. You'd think these had been out there in the ocean.
Wow.
well, now, so they laid you off in that thing. I don't even know how long BJ and the Bear was on. How long was BJ and the Bear on?
3 seasons.
3 seasons.
Yeah.
And then you went to after that you went to Quincy.
Well, Quincy was being filmed at the same time, and I worked on something called Galactica 80. Been out on a couple nights on that to fix the light bars on some sheriff cars. We were. I was low man on the totem pole at Universal, so I got my training on changing the transmission on the street cleaner, the garbage truck, all kinds of these good jobs.
That sounds like you blend right in with us good.
Yeah.
We're all pretty much low. I own my own business, and I am incorporated, but I'm the CEO that gets to carry out the trash.
I want to know how.
Well,
I'm actually got my own business too, and it's turned into a non-profit, being all the fuel's gone up so high. And I wonder, can I get like a non-profit, some kind of a where I ain't got to pay taxes?
We should be able to.
Yeah. Well, this country would be a big problem if everybody was non-profit, I guess.
So after BJ and the Bear, is that when you started with the General Lee, or started with the Dukes of Hazzard?
Yeah, I did. I started working on the cars. They actually Dukes of Hazzard was started being filmed when I got there, and we were doing the cars. They put me on all the cars as they were tearing them up and trying to get them to run and trying to get them to do this and that. And after about eight weeks, they decided to go ahead and put me out on the set permanently on the second unit.
So you proved your work. You had to prove where you ended up being.
What was that?
You had to work where you were part of the officially, like, and held on to.
Well, I'll tell you, that was a very rude awakening. My first day out there on that set, it was 5 o'clock in the morning. It was foggy. It was scary going through those windy roads to the base camp, and the only lights I think that was on that we could see at that time was Billy's catering truck. He was out there before that, and you could see the lights on his catering truck. And then we knew. Then I knew where base camp was, but I had no idea the condition of those cars that were out there.
Oh. They must have had one really nice one that they used for the up close scene.
Well, they did, but that was stayed at the studio. That was the one that Tom, John, and Kathy had, and that was a pretty nice car. Everybody thought it was a 440 car. It was actually a 383 car, and it had headers on it and aluminum manifold. It had chrome hood springs, and the battery was mounted in the trunk, which was a very poor idea. And at least on my cars, the battery was there where it should be, and they didn't have headers on them, because those headers, I think, were just a waste of time on a street car.
Yeah. So most of the cars doing I imagine were probably just the more of a run of the mill Charger, where it was just a 318. Small.
No, yeah, mostly 383s and 440s. We did have a few 318 cars. What we told the people that were out looking for the cars, distributor in front, good. Distributor in back, no good.
Okay.
But we ended up probably with about 15.
Did you ever have any slant six cars?
No, we didn't. But that is a very rare car, and
Yeah.
actually, they were 3-speed on the column, and they were 6 cylinders. And Chrysler gave that to all their employees in '68. They let them buy them at a really reduced rate, and just to get the car out there, because that was '68 was the first year for that new body style.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to have one with a slant six and 3-speed on the column myself.
Oh, yeah, that's like having 140.
That was definitely a no-frills car.
Car, man. Yeah, I'm all about that.
Hey,
Pass by
you guys are all Mopar guys. What motor was never available in that Dodge Charger?
What motor was never? I'd say the 360 for sure.
Well, that didn't come along until later,
Was it the
240? It'd have to be the 340.
No, that was another one. Didn't come out until the 340 didn't come out until 1970.
Okay, so you got the 225 6, which you just said was in it. 318.
Yeah.
We know they put 318s in it.
Yeah, there was 318s in it.
What about 273?
Yeah,
No, 273 was before the 318.
What about the 427?
No, 426. 427 would be a Chevrolet motor. But,
Yeah, the 426, I mean.
I'll give you guys a big hint. There was never a 440 6-pack.
Okay.
There was never a 440 6-pack in the Charger. It had everything from a 6-cylinder to the Hemi, but never a 440 6-pack.
I wonder why they did that.
I don't know, but they had it in the Roadrunner, the satellite body.
Yeah.
But they never offered the 6-pack in the Charger for some reason.
Okay, when you got
a Coronet thing, wasn't it? The Dodge Coronet.
Yeah, a Dodge Coronet. Yeah, they had it, but that was a Coronet body style, and but the 68, 69 Charger never had a 440 6-pack.
okay.
Of course, Tom, I've owned a Charger, but I lean toward, I like the Roadrunner or satellite body style. I don't know. I guess it's just over the years I've just seen so many Chargers. My brother had a 383 4-speed Roadrunner. It was a little bit more square and boxier, but it was a really good car, and he had it was a GTX that came with the 440 6-pack, and remember it had that fiberglass hood. Yep.
And it used to have the poles, and it used to stand up,
Yeah,
on that.
That's the I'll get it said in just a minute. The A12 car.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yes,
like-
it is.
Stupid
And I
money
think-
now. Them.
Yeah, and I think one of the only options on that was either it was a 4-speed or an automatic.
Mm-hmm.
I think
they
Yeah, I think all of the A12s was 4-speed, but I could be wrong on that. But they was all Dana 60 4-speed 6-pack.
Yep. They sure were.
Mm-hmm.
Cool cars.
It was unbelievable car. The one I know that still had one was a guy named Tim Ekstrand. He used to race for Bob Lambeck, and he had one that he campaigned in the stock classes. And when Tim quit racing, the car, I guess, was from what I heard from Bob, it was put up in a garage, put up on jack stands, and that's where it sits today. It's not for sale.
That's probably $1 million car if it's got some history like that.
Yeah.
It's got all the history on it. I believe Tim Expan passed away, and I think his son has the car, and it's still in the same condition it was when it was on the drag strip.
No kidding.
Now somebody will sell it. Give it time when they die off, man. It'll be gone. Somebody will see cash money there.
Well, it's good. I was just out there in California, and I talked to Bob Lambeck at the shop. I went in there and surprised him, and when he saw me, it looked like he saw a ghost. But I hadn't been out there in a real long time, and I always told Bob that if I do, I'll stop by his shop, and I did. He's still out there with his dyno building those Hemi motors.
No kidding.
Going back to some of them episodes of the Duke Boys, like there were some of them shows. I can't remember the exact episode, but one of them episodes, I remember them doing a chase scene, and the Charger it laid a set of positives and went through the gears. It had to have 4-speed. So was some of them 440s built really stout where they bought them and it was just like that, or did you just build them to where one of them would run?
Well, they dubbed in all the sounds. They made it sound like it was a 4-speed. We never had any 4-speeds on the car, But then I'm telling a fib because I just never wanted to get into the deal with 4-speeds. We never had any Hemis. We never had any Dana rear ends. We never used any positive tractions or sure grips rear ends. But we did have one that John Cade jumped over the train. They bought a car that had somebody had put a 413 4-speed in it. And for some ungodly reason, I don't know how they could miss something like that. But anyway, they bought it. We had it, and I had to use it up. So I've always denied that there was a 4-speed, but I'm telling you guys, there was that one 4-speed.
Oh, you heard it right here tonight. Yeah.
And John Cade jumped that over the train. I didn't know if he wanted to do that, but I really needed to use up that car. And I brought another 440 car out there with an automatic. It was all set up and ready to go in case he didn't feel comfortable with that 4-speed. But the problem is when he was in there, strapped in there so tight, he couldn't go from second gear into third gear. And I needed him to be in third gear when he was at the ramp. So what we did is we did a little practicing with him, and I showed him that the car could run up to 105 miles an hour in third gear, and he was okay with that. So he went in and he tried it. He knew that he could get at least 85 out of it with no problem. And what he did is we had all kinds of. I think we had almost a mile if we needed it, but. What we did is we told him just slip the clutch and start off in third gear, then go for it. And I says, if it stops on you, quits running, pop the clutch, it'll fire right back up. John went over there. He went over that train. He went 186 feet.
Good Lord.
I bet it destroyed that car, didn't it?
Yeah. There was a guy, Richie Birch. He wanted that transmission, so he told Warner Brothers, he wanted to go and he would pull out that transmission. So we were going to go down there on that Saturday, open up the shop, and he's going to pull out that transmission. Well, when that thing come down, there was more needle bearings and gear oil. Yeah, there was a big streak of that. I mean, there was nothing left of that transmission except for one thing, and I think John Cade still has that pistol grip shifter.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like $350 now for a pistol grip.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice one, and I know John's got it. So that's the proof. But I do tell that story in my book. So, the cat's out of the bag, 40 years later, about that 4-speed.
That is so funny, but I'd hate to. I just want to imagine what's going through John's mind when he's fixing to jump the train, because he actually goes through in between the gap, right?
What's that?
Didn't he go in between like the
boxcar, flat car, boxcar kind of thing?
Yeah, went through across the flat car or something, didn't he? He didn't have to,
Yeah. And what we did is, just to make sure that what they did is they piled up all these cardboard boxes, because John was at, at least 85, 90 miles an hour when he was going through there. The only thing I don't know is what was going through John's mind at that time.
I can tell you what's going through his mind. He's thinking, I'm an idiot. I have lost my mind.
Well, but think of this. Al Wyatt Jr., he jumped over the train on Granny Annie in that same spot. He had a 440 car, and he went 237 feet. The longest jump that anybody has gone in the General Lee.
No kid.
I bet he's thinking, is this thing ever going to land?
And Al Wyatt, when he did that, he had flip flops on.
Did any of the cars survive the landings?
Pardon?
Like, there's a couple of landings I've seen, and it looks like the cars actually didn't get too torn up. Did any of them actually not get totally destroyed from the jumps?
Well, every car that we did jump, it got crushed. We did not ever use the car over again, and that was for liability purposes. And it would it took forever to start rebuilding those cars. And, we bought those cars off the street for $500 a piece.
Oh, there's just one jump I've seen, and it actually, the car lands and you can see it bottoms out on the suspension, but then it looks like it didn't look like the car actually damaged up too much. It looked like it was, it survived it nearly,
Well, that's what they call that movie magic.
Yeah.
What we did though is we took a car and we went over mini ramps that were probably like 18 inches high. And what we did is we filmed it coming down, on that. The editing wasn't the best in the world on that. Everybody can stop action on the thing. Just think back when we were doing this thing, there was no such thing as cell phones. There was no such thing as a plasma cutter.
No.
All those push bars and everything that you used, it was cut out. That was all cut out by hand back there in the day.
And then going to talking about the film angles and stuff, there was no CGI either. It all had to be just how the
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
what you got.
Back in that day, the stunts back then were real. I mean,
I miss that, man. I hate this CGI junk, man. I can spot it a mile away.
Yeah.
That put a lot of stunt guys out of work, Corey Eubanks, he's doing all the Fast Five movies and stuff like that, and he's the one that did in the opening credits. I don't remember which number one it was, but he turned over that Greyhound bus that was supposed to be a prison bus. He flipped that thing over, and it bounced over that new Dodge Charger, and I mean that was something else. I mean,
that was a real stunt. That wasn't computer generated. That was actually a real deal. Huh?
No, that was a real stunt, and that was the second time he did it. The first time, the air cannons did not go off on it. Only one did, and it rolled over on its side.
Okay.
And they bought another bus and reskinned the cage that was on that other bus for Corey to do it over again. And when he did it the second time, only two cannons went over, but you could see how violent that was.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing,
But
really.
yeah, and when Corey came to us, he was 18 years old.
No.
He'd never driven a car any kind of stunts before. And
That's a-
yeah, that kid's got all this God-given talent. I'll tell you that.
Well, I tell you, that makes a huge difference to me in any kind of movie. If stunts are right, you have to use computer stunts and some of the stuff today because it's just far too dangerous to put somebody behind the wheel. But it more real you can do it, whether they're manned or unmanned. It just adds that much more dynamic, I think, to the movie.
Yes,
makes a difference.
it does. I mean, you can tell. When they did the Dukes of Hazzard movie, they used actually 70 Chargers and they put 69 front ends on them, but they didn't have stunt guys in there. They actually catapulted the cars off. Yeah. And but none of us were asked to go back to work on that show. And we could have done that stuff.
Yeah.
It seemed like, what's that?
I've got your book up here where people can see you, because you actually got a book out there, and that's one of the reasons we've got him here, the man behind the General Lee, Tom Sarmento. And that's kind of why we got you here. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I've been working trying to make this professional as I can, but I actually got a picture of the book up, so I'm doing good. I just
well,
you
know what? I do have a mock-up of the book.
Right.
That I'm kind of trying to hold in front of me.
Yeah, I got a picture of it up here. We're good.
Okay. And that's going to come out October 19th. I think it's a pretty good book. It's my life story, and it starts off, from grade school to high school to joining the Marine Corps when I was 17, and I spent my 17th and 18th birthday. No, I spent my 18th birthday in boot camp, and I spent the 19th and 20th birthday over in Vietnam.
Wow!
Oh Lord.
That sounds like a good movie.
Yeah.
Well, nobody on Dukes ever knew that I was in the service or went over to Vietnam.
Really?
We got such a rude awakening when we come back. Back there in the 60s.
Sure.
People hated us. And so nobody talked much about it. The Marine Corps said, when you guys go home, just burn your uniforms, and
wow.
I burned all of mine except for just one blazer, and I still have that hanging in the closet.
Yeah. Well, we all appreciate you.
Yeah, we appreciate your service.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Let me ask you another question. When you first started working for the Dukes of Hazzard, that was filmed in Georgia for what, the first season, and then they moved it to California?
First 5 episodes were done in Georgia.
Okay.
Just 5 episodes, and then it went back to California.
No kidding.
And then we went out in California, we went out to a ranch. It was about 55, 60 miles from the studio, and it was Lake Sherwood, and it had all these oak trees and stuff like that. It was a great ranch, and we filmed 3 years there, and then we went to Valencia Oaks out in Valencia, California, to film the last 3 years of the show.
Well, now, when you was in Georgia, do you ever remember they shot a part of an episode up here in Hiawassee on, I think it was Moody Hollow up there, I think on a river. Do you remember anything like that? Did you go with the car?
Well, see, I never worked the show, the first 5 episodes.
Okay.
I didn't start until the California shows.
Okay. Well, now the California shows, the way I understand it out there, you had this one spot that y'all done all the filming, and you'd film the car going down the road one way, and then you'd turn the car around and film it coming back the other. So you really didn't have a whole lot places to film. Is
Well,
that kind of?
we had several hundred acres, and we filmed out there on Carlisle Road. When we were at the studio or at Lake Sherwood.
Right.
We did a lot of that, and that was very pretty. It was just they called it a 2-lane road. It was probably like a car and a half. It was something like they would use in Ireland.
All right.
But
I got a question for you.
yes,
You filmed, and so all the different locations you got to film at, all the different cars you had to work at, not counting Daisy Dukes, what was your favorite part of the show?
going home.
Not including Daisy Duke.
Oh, you can't.
Yeah. Okay. My favorite part, and you know what? I answered that question in my book, and that I've been asked that question several times. What is my favorite part of the show? And I said, going home and taking a shower.
There you go.
I was the dirtiest. You would not believe how dirty I was. Everything was dirt. When I changed a K-frame, I had them dig a hole with the bucket scoop, and I actually changed a K-frame, put a tank bar on it, put a come along on it, and dropped that K-frame out, and then bolted that damn thing back in there on my back and on the dirt.
Oh,
And
that's when they knew you were
I had to be, kind of like a MacGyver out there. It took me almost a full season and a half to get these brakes to lock up. The stunt guys wanted both those wheels to lock up at the same exact time.
Okay.
And if you think about it, the left emergency brake cable is straight to the left rear brake.
Right.
The right one goes all the way across to the differential.
Right.
So it would be like about 3 or 4 feet. It would lag.
Yeah.
And I tried everything. I tried metallic brakes. I reversed the shoes. I put dirt in them. I couldn't figure it out until one day I was sleeping and I woke up and I thought, what if I took brand new drums, scored those drums to where when you run your hand across them, it would almost cut them. Put them on, and you know what? I did, but I was about a foot shy. So what I ended up doing is on that right cable, the emergency brake cable, I put a cable clamp on there and adjusted it so it was tight. Well, that was a drive wheel anyway, so it didn't make any difference. And then the guy at the machine shop, he goes, "You're not going to get 100 miles out of those brakes." I says, I wouldn't care if I only got 10 miles out of there as long as they work. Those cars are never going to see 100 miles on them.
Yeah.
And, with 317 of them, there was a lot of brake shoes gone, but what the heck? All I wanted to do was work. And when the stunt guys were happy, I was happy.
There you go.
Let me ask you something. Did you make more money than what any other greasy mechanic would make back then, or was you about the same?
I think I was working for the studio. It was about $17 or $18 an hour back then, but I had a 80 a week hour guarantee.
Wow.
And that was for 5 days. I would actually go past those 80 hours, and I would be going out there on Saturday and Sundays with my kids.
Wow.
But see, the way the studio pays is after 8 hours, it's straight time.
Okay.
8 to 10 hours is time and a half, and after 10 hours, it's double time.
Cool. So you're raking.
So I was making very good money. I never squabbled with the studio about getting more money. I just needed more time
Sure.
than money. And you
Well,
just can't buy that time.
You had to
No.
get to where you were trying to replace cars, and they were wrecking them quicker than you could probably get them together and looking like the General Lee again.
Well, see, that's what happened. You know, like on a Friday, you know, it would be the last day of the shoot for the series, and the place looked like a junkyard. I mean, I didn't have any cars left to go, so I would go out there and pull a door off, try to beat out quarter panels, you know, and you know, so I didn't know what was going to be coming out from the studio on that Monday morning on a car carrier, or if there was a car carrier.
Sure.
Because when we go back to the lot, you could never find the cars, you know, at night, you know, looking around, they used to hide these cars all in kind of the bushes and stuff like that. And then they would load them up and come out. But I couldn't tell Paul Baxley that, gee, I'm sorry, Paul, you don't have any cars to shoot today.
No, it was one of the reasons you were always looking for big block cars. Was it more for power, or was it more for interchangeability?
Well, it was more for power, you know,
Okay.
because the 318 didn't have enough power to, you know, make those wheels spin and, you know, slide in the dirt. And
Sure.
Al Wyatt, you know, he could take that 440 Charger, that 383. He preferred a 440, but he could do anything with that car. I mean, he did not need that emergency brake to slide it around.
Right.
I mean, you know, he could power that car around. And Alan got his, let's see, his start on, it was a Charger movie back when, in the day, Dirty Mary.
Oh yeah.
Crazy Larry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Alan actually started driving the General Lee there. His dad, Al Wyatt Sr., was actually the stunt coordinator on the show, and he hired Alan to drive. That's where Alan first started driving that car. Yes. And, you know, Al Wyatt, you know, I miss that guy so much. He died at 53 years old. He ended up with he had a staph infection when he had his knees replaced, and he died early at 53. And, you know, we miss him so much. I mean, you know, that was Corey Eubanks' mentor. Him and Jerry Summers took Corey under his wing, and, you know, they used to play tricks on Corey, you know, because Corey got in nepotism. You know, he was Bob Eubanks' son. Mm-hmm. And when everybody introduced Corey, they didn't say, this is Corey Eubanks. This is Bob's son. You know, so we all had shirts that said, I'm Bob's son. But you know, it's I think it's a pretty good book, you know, and it
well, you know, that's the thing
ends
about
up
it.
with what we're doing shows with now, and we're doing shows with but you know who I'm doing shows with now. We're doing shows with the Moonshiners.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Moonshiners, you know, well, Uncle Jesse was a moonshiner. You know, the boys were running shine, you know, and, you know, they love that General Lee. Stevie Barker, he's got a General Lee, and he's a moonshiner. And, you know, they love us, you know, so it keeps us going. We get to go to more shows, you know, sell hats and T-shirts and drink a lot of moonshine.
Well, now, Tom, I'm up here in Georgia, and I know some old moonshiners used to run moonshine, and I don't know any of them that would take an orange Dodge Charger with an old one on the door.
It's
That
so
was-
shine.
And Hall Moonshine is like, oh, I'm incognito now. I've got an orange.
Well, but you know, if you could outrun them, you know,
Yeah.
that's what you had to do is outrun
Man,
the
it's
Moonshiners.
It's
But
hard
yeah,
to hide.
that would be kind of stupid, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I know, of course, he's passed away now, but he run Moonshine. He had a 69 Roadrunner, and he talked about it, but he rolled that thing over. He was coming down the curve and rolled it off the bank, went all the way over, back on the wheels, and he never slowed down. He got away, but yeah, he rolled that thing plumb back over on the wheels, never
Yeah,
slowed
see?
down.
There you go. Look at Jerry
Yeah.
Russian.
In Australia, was alcohol ever prohibited like that? Like it was here in the States for a while?
What's that? Oh,
Down in Australia, I was
Yeah.
wondering about. He's asking about Australia. Y'all ever have any moonshine runners down there? Anything like this?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, because that was a big deal up here for a long time. It was a way a lot of these people around here could make a living. They couldn't eke out a living the other way, and it was all. A lot of people got killed, and it was all for tax evasion. It is really what it came down to. You know,
right.
They
You know,
Did they ever have prohibition in Australia?
No,
okay,
not that I know of. That would be before my time. They did.
okay.
They're a bunch of alcoholics down there.
That's
Yeah,
all right.
they can't ban that because everyone loves it too much.
but see, it's not against the law to make moonshine,
Right.
but it is against the law to sell moonshine.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Even make it now.
well,
You your own whiskey, or your own wine, but and beer, but you can't make whiskey or grain alcohol. I think that's still completely taboo.
I think so too.
yeah, you know, you can make it for your own consumption, you know, moonshine, but you know, the moonshine that you can get a liquor license, and you can actually sell moonshine, but it can't be more than 40% alcohol. And some of the stuff that I have tasted, it's probably somewhere around 70 to 80% alcohol.
Yeah, you can really call it.
It'll make your hair curl.
But you know, here's the thing now, because I got a buddy of mine over here that owns a moonshine distillery. He's got a moonshine distillery, Granddaddy Mims. Most people don't want that. They still want the bootleg outlaw moonshine. They're like, well, I'd rather have
That's
that.
right.
Yeah.
Well, the whole
People still making it.
making it by the light.
Yeah, but you have to know somebody to get that.
Right.
You know, you just can't go up to a store and buy the stuff. You know,
Right.
you got to kind of meet in somewhere out there in the woods or something. You know, and maybe you don't come back.
Right.
I think that 40% rule is the reason why they want it all or nothing. Yeah.
There you go. You know, but you know, there's all kinds of theory. You know, but you know, there's you know, like I didn't want to name all the moonshiners that I knew at the end of the book. But what
Well,
I
don't
did
do that.
is
We don't want to get nobody in trouble.
well, but what I did is I named their favorite moonshine that they made.
Right.
Hey,
Yeah, and there's one that this pink possum, and that I'll tell you what, that was something else. And the guy that made the pink possum, he says, you can drink the possum, don't see. Don't you can drink with the possum, but don't play possum.
There you go.
That was his motto, and that's kind of where I ended the book.
I'm trying right now to send some moonshine down to Copperhead Customs down there in Australia, and I know the people up there, and they're like, man, if you send it, it won't make it. It'll make it to customs, and they will drink your moonshine. So I'm going to get some down there. I'm trying to figure out a way around it.
they put it in fuel cans.
Well,
do it. He
you
said
know,
he'll never make it. He said they will drink your moonshine, and it'll never make it to Australia. You can forget it. So
yeah, it probably will. You know, I had some friends that made potato moonshine. It made it kind of like a
Vodka.
it was like a vodka.
Right.
and they were in Norway, and they ended up. But this here was back in the early 70s. But they brought it on the plane with them. They had it in their luggage. But customs and you can't get You can't get that stuff through security anymore.
No.
Nah.
I guarantee you they won't take the Vegemite that I send to you, though.
So let me ask you something down in Australia. Do y'all have anything like moonshine? Are you familiar with moonshine that we're talking about?
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that because I was actually sending you a bottle of mine, which isn't mine that I've made, but from racing, there's a bloke that started off methanol moonshine, which he's now selling over there in the States as well. And I've got my own bottle made from racing, so it's got all my label and stuff done on it. And I was actually going to send you one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do have it.
Make-
That's the only company they have.
Hey, Steve,
Like they do
you
up
ought
here.
to have him. You ought to have him send you some stuff called Vegemite.
No, he's going to. Yeah, we're ahead of you on that.
Well, that's a hell of a
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The customs won't steal the Vegemite. They'll send that straight through.
That is the most god awful tasting stuff I've ever had.
Don't tell me that. He says it's good. I'm gonna try it.
Want to try it?
There's a way that there's technically a way you're supposed to eat that, is it not? You don't just dip it out of the.
Nah. You just very sparingly. Just put a little tiny piece on the toast. Not even cover the whole toast. Just a little tiny bit.
Wave the butter knife over it, and whatever falls off ends up on the toast.
Yeah, basically, it's not like putting peanut butter on or anything. You do that, yeah, it would be absolutely disgusting.
Oh my God! Keith Clues, he brought over that Vegemite, and I'll tell you what, I just wanted to puke when I ate that.
Maybe I don't know. We've been brought up on it.
He goes. It's just like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, but you just got to put on the thing.
It might cure whatever.
I don't know, man. I'll probably.
That's how we can handle all that deadly stuff. See, it puts air on your chest.
There you go. Yeah, we're a bunch of sissies up here in America, man.
Well, yeah, and Steve, you never want to box a kangaroo.
No,
They want to ride one, he reckons.
Yeah, I want to try riding one. I seen somebody in Australia got killed by a kangaroo. They said first time in 85 years. You heard anything about that?
No, I didn't, but they're big. Like the big red ones are bigger than me.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, they're like over 6'10", way over 6 foot, and they got muscles like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and yeah, they're you don't want to mess with them. I'm telling you.
Now, do y'all eat them things? We up here in the South.
Yeah, some do. I personally don't really like it. It's a bit gamey.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, people do eat them.
I guess
kind
of like I guess would be equivalent to deer here, right?
No.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because they're great. They herd like a deer would.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Well, I've just finished fencing last week to keep them out of the yard. So
yeah, see, we got the same thing with white-tailed deer here. I mean, deer aren't gonna kick you in the face or anything like that, but they do a damage to a lot of our cars. So
yeah. I'll take one.
One thing they got out there in Australia that we'll never have out here is those road trains.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what those are, Steve?
Yeah, the 18-wheelers. It's like 6 trailers long.
That's like a freight train going down those roads.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I wonder why.
Yeah, only in the country they do that. Northern Territory.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the 18-wheelers over there has got a whole lot more horsepower than they do over here, do they not? I mean, as far as the limits on it, I think they got a whole lot more power than what they do.
Yeah, I think they pump out about 1,000 horsepower or something.
Wow.
What's the speed on the roads down there? Do they limit your speed?
Yeah, 110. Well, the trucks can only do 100.
Okay, and the kilometers. Or is it miles?
Yeah, 100
That's
kilometers. So what's that? 60 miles, 65 miles or something.
Okay.
Yeah. That's about like it is here.
Yeah.
What's crazy though? Go ahead, Tom.
Really, for cars, from like Los Angeles to Vegas, it just said resume a safe speed.
Mhm.
And if you thought 110 miles an hour, 120 miles an hour was a safe speed, and you weren't weaving in and out of traffic, you could do that. But
Mhm.
now it's bumper to bumper traffic, and
Yeah.
you barely can do 35 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's about the truth.
I remember when I was a kid, we were out in Wyoming. We were coming back from Utah. My dad bought a '57 Corvette out of a junkyard and we were driving it home. And my dad was cruising along, keeping up with traffic. And he's got a New York State dealer plate on the back of his car, and we're in Wyoming. And he looks up at his mirror and he sees a Wyoming State Trooper with a big hat and the mirrored sunglasses. And we're doing about 80, 85, keeping up with traffic. And my dad quick backed out of it. And the cop almost rear-ended my dad, then moved over alongside him, pulled up alongside him, just looked over, gave him a big thumbs up, and just kept on going. He didn't care. We were doing 80. We were just keeping up with traffic. And, egg for sure in New York,
But,
you talk about
now.
police. Go ahead, Tom.
Oh, where can you can't go that way. They've got all these cars, these new cars out, those Hellcats and stuff like that. But where can you use all that horsepower?
That's true.
A drag strip or something like that,
Yeah.
Yeah, but you get to walk in and say, I own a Hellcat and I got 800 horsepower.
That's
And I
true.
don't know how to drive it.
That's what it is.
You can use it late night in the mountains here, just like if you was running shine or stuff, because you get late in the nights here, there's nobody up on the mountains.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's a lot of power.
Yeah,
It's a power.
Yeah.
and there's a reason.
Well, you'd learn how
It's a
to
long way
drift
down
around.
some of those mountains too.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
Y'all were talking about
Yeah.
him getting pulled over by the law. Y'all, my daddy, Morris Phillips, is a mess. He is. I mean, I am cut from him, and there ain't no doubt about it. But we were going to South Carolina, and we were driving my Dodge pickup truck, and the speedometer was broke. And I told my dad he was driving, and I was old enough to drive, but anyway, he was driving because it was whatever reason. And I told him, I said, now, Dad, when the hood starts shaking, that's about 65, which I was lying because it was really about 75 or 80. But I wanted him to go on. I wanted him to drag around. So we was going down, and all of a sudden we got down in South Carolina, and blue lights come on. And Dad said, don't worry about it. I'll handle this. Just don't worry about it. Don't worry. I got this under control. And so the state patrol, it was the South Carolina State Patrol, walked up and said, you know how they do, where are you going so fast? And blah, 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 blah. And Daddy said, well, he said, we're going wherever it is. And he said, I just kind of, I know my speed when the hood starts shaking and blah, blah, blah. And that state patrol looked at my dad and he said, Mr. Phillips, if you can't tell the difference between 85 and 35, you don't need to be on the road. We went to the 35 mile an hour zone at 85 mile an hour. He's like, he didn't give him a ticket. I don't know why. I guess he just got tickled at him or whatever, but he just gave him a warning. But
Well,
he made it.
maybe he come up with something he hadn't heard before.
Yeah, maybe that's
most
what
of
it
those
is.
officers have heard everything.
So
Yeah.
how many Dodge Chargers do you think you took off the face of this earth?
Approximately 317.
Wow.
And 17
Wow.
of them survived the show.
Mhm.
But there was hundreds of thousands of those cars made, 78,
Yeah.
79, and 70. So it was a drop in the bucket. But
Right.
You can buy every part for that 68 or 69 Charger new.
Yeah.
You could if you had enough money and you were stupid enough to have somebody do it, you could build a brand new Charger. You could get a VIN number for it, and you would have every piece new on that car.
Yeah.
I mean,
People
frame
think that-
rails,
Right.
everything.
That's kind of a good point they made about them just being, they were just used cars when you were shooting that series. They didn't really have any collector value yet. So it was just no different than us going, oh, there's an Escort and let's just wreck that. And, nobody would cry about it at all. Now they start doing, going back to the movie that they did. Now it's a collector car, and they still had to wreck a few of them. And it's, to me as a car guy, that's kind of a heartbreaker when you start seeing that kind of stuff. When when they take a nice old classic hot rod. There was another one. They they shot it up in the Albany, New York area. It was I think it was called The Other Guys, and Will Ferrell and I can't remember the guy's name. Mark Wahlberg was in it, and they were undercover cops. And in the beginning, the other cops, like the hero cops, they were driving around in a Chevelle and crashing into things. I remember when they were shooting that, all my car buddies that were down living in that area, and they came up to the car shows and the cruisings at night. They said, "Man, I was just down there on set watching those guys race around that Chevelle. They crashed into this building and they hit this, and he said they just restored. It was a nice restored '71 Chevelle, and they just totaled it. And everybody was, and like a bunch of people were going to not watch them just because of that, and because at that point now it's a collector car. It's not just a car anymore, So when you say 17 Chargers, it's 300 cars, So when they're wrecking now, when they take one and they take a nice car that's got some heritage now and following behind it and wreck it, it's kind of like, man, pick something else,
Well, now
they're actually taking the Charger body. They're buying new Charger bodies and putting on Crown Vic frames, and that's what they're jumping now. They're doing that. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
That way, Crown Vics are everywhere.
And I don't see that. When you get in that thing, that dash is stuck up way high, and it's an underpowered piece of junk anyway.
You're right about that.
Fix that.
There's these fans, they just love to see something jump like that, and they're amazed when you can jump one of those little Fords, 50 to 100 feet. When we were doing those stunt shows, I mean, Corey Eubanks, he actually broke going over 200 miles an hour at the Music City Motorplex in Nashville. He was 32 feet in the air with that car. He went 202 feet, and he came down, and this was just it was a 3/8 mile oval, and we had 80,000 people there watching that, and now that's a pretty good fan base for a show that's been over for several years, and that was done. I think Corey jumped that in 2005, and we had 80,000 people in Nashville, and it was the biggest show ever. Never anybody had that many people for any kind of a show, any kind of an audience there, except for the Dukes of Hazzard.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just a lot of these good old redneck boys. And when I tell people, when we were number one, we had to beat out 60 Minutes. Right. And 60 Minutes is still on TV to this day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that said something. Mid-America, Dukes of Hazzard wasn't popular in California, New York, Chicago, Detroit, San Francisco, but Mid-America, everybody, if you talk to them, what did you do at 8 o'clock on Friday night? Dukes of Hazzard was on, and it didn't make any difference what color you were, and everybody wanted to be Bo Luke. And they always wanted to meet Cat.
That's why we want to. We ain't care for Bo.
I religiously.
Well, next week I just got back from a show. It was a benefit for the flood victims in Hazard, Kentucky.
Oh yeah.
We were in Middlesboro, Kentucky this weekend, and then next weekend we're going to be at Hazard Fest in Greenville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then after that I take a week off, and then I'm going to be up in Massachusetts for a week. But it is so much fun talking to these fans, and I get asked just some crazy questions, And some of these people, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a free T-shirt if you can come within 50 cars of how many you think that I actually had on the show.
Mhm.
And they go, was it more than 16? And I go, a couple more.
Yeah.
But in California, when we used to move those cars, those General Lees, we used to they tried to move them early in the morning or later on after night, because they didn't want to see these car carriers with all these cars. It's got 6, 8, 7 chargers on a car carrier, but it was quite a show.
Here's the thing that
like John Schneider.
here's what bothers
Go
me. There you are, you're working up more than 80 hours a week. You got the stunt guys doing their things, and then you got like John Snyder, which I know John Snyder. He's super, super, super cool dude, no doubt. I mean, he's a sweetheart. I mean, he would shoot a couple of scenes and he'd go back and get on his camper and the air conditioning and made all the big money. I just don't think that's fair. I think you ought to sue him.
Well, but like John said, he goes, Al Wyatt, he said, I just did Al Wyatt's dialogue,
Right.
and he left it at that, because Al Wyatt did all the driving for John. And yes, everybody, they always wanted to be Bo and Luke, and the girls, Daisy, but I thought it was more of like a 50-50 thing. I mean, the car was on the show. A lot of people, they just watch it for that car, and but
I always wanted to be. I wanted to be. I guess that's why I'm working on cars now.
Well, I was doing a show with Ben in Sperryville, Virginia, and I was up on stage, and I didn't know what to say, and he says, Tommy, say something, and I says, hey guys, thanks for coming out. And he says, is that all you got? And but I didn't know how to talk to people then, and now I can talk their ear off. But Ben goes, he says, he goes, Tommy Sarmento, he was the real cooter. He says, I don't even know if I could open up the hood on that car. And it was a little tricky. They had the lever, and then you had to reach for that rod and pull it open.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought it was a good show. And Guy Waldron, the creator of Dukes of Hazzard, he had that car. He had it in his mind that the car was going to be a '69 GTO.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
and there was
Didn't go.
that Tommy wouldn't have been on that show with a '69 GTO. But what it is the transportation coordinator, Hank Nessel. He says, before you decide on this, he says, let me bring you a car. So what he did is he had a '69 Charger. He had the push bar, the decals and everything, but he had the car painted a '69 Hugger orange.
Okay.
And you know what? I don't think Guy Waldron and the rest of those producers knew the difference between a '69 Charger and a '69 GTO, but they knew they wanted that color. And that's all Hank Nessel gave them, was that color on that Charger. So everybody thinks that the car was painted Hemi orange. Well, Hemi orange has got a lot of metal flake in it, but that Hugger orange or Corvette flame red, the two different names, same color paints.
The Pontiac call it red, Chevy call it Hugger orange, and Corvette. I'm trying to remember what the exact name for Corvette, but it was right. It was something red or something. It was different.
I think it was Corvette flame red.
Yeah.
We got a comment. We got a comment here from Shop Cat Industry says, long-time Dukes fan here ever since I was a wee one. I think that's a lot of folks are like that.
Yeah, I was little.
And then we got Action Auto Salvage. He comes in there and said he actually had one of the Chargers from the original TV show. So that would have to be one of the 18 left if he ended up with that, right?
17 left. I would like to ask that man, what number the car was. There is a number that was given that car, and it's
Right.
in a very unique place. But those cars were actually serial numbered, and
Really?
it would be a WGL, and then he'd have to give me the numbers, and I could tell him if he had a real car or not.
Right. I don't know. They had that one. They found the original first General Lee down here, but they wasn't nothing left of it. I mean, I guess by the time they restored it, I guess they ended up with the VIN number because it was.
Oh, that was that one that was
The blue one.
the blue one, the 71 car.
Mm.
Yeah, they had 71 on the door. Yeah, that was. That car was actually dismantled, and every part on that car was sold, and it was replaced with all new parts. So whoever owned that car, and I think it was the golfer that bought that car, Bubba Watson.
Right.
And all he got was the VIN number, really, that was original, because everything on that car was replaced, and that's a shame that they went and did that to that car. I mean, I wasn't around when in the first 5 episodes when they found that car, but later on. But it had a lot of history to it,
Right.
and then they ended up making it into a trailer queen.
That's a bummer.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
don't know.
I'm-
Like that. He said he posted a picture. Action Auto Salvage said he posted a picture. We can check out the picture on his community page. He posted a picture. So Action Salvage Outlaw, Auto Salvage Outlaw. We'll get it there in a minute. You did all out, so we can check that out. I don't know, man. Like I said, but the thing about that is, back when you all were shooting that movies, Mopars were dirt cheap from every one of them. There wasn't nothing. I mean, even the Superbirds really wasn't bringing on the money back in the early '80s. I mean,
Nothing. And what I did is actually I campaigned a 70 and a 71 CUDA with a 383 in NHRA class and super stock, and I held a national record with the 70 and the 71.
Right.
And my 71, I like the looks of that better, but see, the 71 was available, that 383 was available with a shaker hood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chrysler was using up all that sheet metal because in 1972, all the performance motors were gone.
Mm-hmm.
And so they made the base plate for a 4-barrel, a 6-pack, and then the 2 4-barrels for the shaker hoods in 1971.
Right.
So did NRA add horsepower to you because of the shaker hood, or did they?
No, the way I looked at it is, that shaker hood weighed 80 pounds more than the regular hood. So, and weight on the front end of that car, that isn't where you want it to be.
No, because you jumped it all the time. I know.
Yeah, and but I liked it. We had a Dane in it. I wasn't factory back like most of the other guys in there, but we did more than most. I've got a couple of the small Wallies, and 2 national records, and so I think when way back there in the 70s, where I had that car running in the 1090s, with that 383 motor, and a lot of people tell me you can't get that motor up that high RPM. That little 383 with a 615 CFM Holley carburetor we got that thing to run 7,600 RPM.
Wow.
Lights. It had no oil pressure left. The oil light would come on
Right.
when you went through the last speed light. So, but they said no, that 383 won't twist that kind of RPM. But we did make it run that.
Auto Salvage
It took a while.
Yeah, Auto Salvage Outlaws is wanting to know who is the man in the bottom left corner. That would be Tom Sarmento, and he has got. This is the man behind the General Lee. Tell him about your book.
Okay, it's my life story. We tell a lot of Duke stories. We go back and then we start telling some of the stunt show stories that we built the cars for. I was always, mostly a Chrysler man, but back when I was in 1963, I did have a 57 Chevy Bel Air convertible.
Right.
But that was my high school car, and I was pretty much styling when I had that car. I was working at Bob's Big Boy, and I was making 85 cents an hour, and man, that was a lot of money back then,
Right.
But then I could put that Sunoco 260 gas in that thing.
There you go.
I had a 327. It was a 365 horse 327 in there, and I had an Offenhauser manifold with three Stromberg 97s
That's good
on it.
there.
And a 3-speed on the floor. And but then I always stayed with I started out with a 62 Dodge Ugly. It was
They were odd
Dodge,
birds back then, man.
I like those cars.
That car is so ugly, but it's kind of unique. But it had a 361 with a 4-barrel. It had push button on the dash. It had leather seats, and it had a console. And that's when I first started racing at Orange County Raceway when they opened up there in 19. I waited. I didn't race there until 1967, 68, when I was in the service. But I remember when John Force was racing out there with his funny car back in there, and he couldn't even make a field of 8. And look where that man is at nowadays.
I know that's right.
He's
Everybody's got to start somewhere.
Yeah, man.
Hello, now we got Action Salvage Outlaw said he talked to some of the actors about his car. He even talked to Cherry. That's got to be Brian Cherry, right? I mean, if he talked to Cherry.
To who?
Brian, isn't it Brian Cherry, the other guy that, what was he, the other Bo Duke or whatever?
Byron Cherry, one of the cousins.
Cherry, yeah.
He probably wouldn't. He wouldn't know if he was driving a GTO or
he is a nut, man. He is the most fun guy to talk to.
Yes, he is.
Doubt.
Byron is out of control.
Yeah.
I'm going to be working with him up in Luray, Virginia, at Cooter's place. I just got done doing a show with him a couple weeks ago. We were out in Kentucky.
Yeah.
No, Tennessee.
When you're up in Luray,
doing a show in Tennessee.
When you're up
What's
in Luray,
that?
when you're up in Luray, make sure you go into Luray Caverns. They're absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
It's
I've been to the caverns twice.
and it's beautiful, isn't it?
You got to go see the caverns.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable, those caverns. I mean,
It's,
last time I was there, you could still go take some pictures and stuff in there.
I tell you, see,
but
they don't do guided tours anymore, so you get to take your time and you go in by yourself. You can travel at your own pace, and you really get to see it good now. And plus, they got a cool little auto museum and some other stuff to do around there too. But the caverns is the best caverns I've ever been into.
Well, and when I was there, they were talking about it, and on the people that first started going in there, they never stop them from breaking off those
Yeah.
stalagmites and stalactites, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, a lot of them were destroyed in there until
Mhm.
you know
That
the
was
federal parks took over.
yeah. That was legal to do right up until 1974. And
Yeah,
you know,
and that's amazing, you know. But I mean, it's amazing that people do that stuff, you know, just for a souvenir.
yeah.
I mean, you know, the same thing happened like to the Duke's farmhouse, the original farmhouse out there in Covington, you know, and
Okay.
all the stuff that ended up disappearing, and you know, and the Duke's fans complain about it, but it was the Duke's fans that took the stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
right. Eesh, I don't know. Well, this book that he's got is called The Man Behind the General Lee. Now, this is it out yet or not out yet?
October 19th.
Okay. Where will we be? Where will we be able to find it?
Well, I don't, you know, what I'm trying to do is put it out by myself.
Okay.
You know, you can get it on, you know, on my fan page. You can go to my fan page. I've got you know, some of these cards that you can hold up. You can take a picture of it, and it'll take you right to my fan page. And
Yeah.
you know, you can my
Oh.
the easiest way to get it is my fan page, or you can get a hold of me at Hazard County Stunt Team
Okay.
at carolina.rr.com.
Okay.
But it'll be out there. It will be out at on you know, Amazon will have it and stuff. But what I'm doing is I'm selling a copy of the book for $35 for a signed copy of the book, and it costs about $6 to have it mailed. If you wanted it priority mail, it's about $13.
That's a cheap price to entry to learn about a man's memoirs. That's for sure.
Oh, no doubt, especially all the
Well,
cheap food.
Yeah.
and then I've got about 150 black and white pictures in it. It's a hardcover. It's a 7x10 hardcover book, and it's about 210 pages. And it's we kept it as a G rating, you know, for some of these little young guys that we're trying to, you know, hang on to the heritage of the Dukes of Hazzard. And
Cool.
you know, the thing that was very disappointing, I went to Warner Brothers in March, and I went on the Burbank studio tours. And you know, they got this big 5-story parking garage. They got a beautiful. I mean, the inside of this thing is just gorgeous, and they do not have one picture of the Dukes of Hazzard in there. And
Yeah,
it was
they
a
got into all
#1,
that nonsense.
a #1 TV show.
That's great.
And when you're on the tour, if you ask any of the people that are, you know, driving around the cart, you mention the words Dukes of Hazzard, they go, we don't know. I said, you know, and you know, these guys are, you know, 75, 80 years old, so they had to know about it. And they go, is that where Cooter's Garage was? I couldn't tell you. You know.
Well, you know, I'm gonna tell you, I just think that's a shame because the common man could care less.
Yeah.
And I think it's all these big shots up here trying to make an issue out of it, because I know all walks of life that love the Dukes of Hazzard and all that. I just,
Well,
you know,
yeah, you know, and you know, everybody calls it a Confederate flag that's on the roof. It's a battle flag. It's the Atlanta battle flag.
Yeah.
You know, people don't know their history. You know, a Confederate flag was actually a white flag. And if you really want to, you know, talk about the flags, go out there to Fort Sumter and take that tour.
Right.
It's got all the flags up there. And that is a fantastic tour. And you learn about it. But you know what? They don't teach kids now any U.S. history anymore. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a shame. You know, and
The big thing
But
with
what
now is
you know, we can't do a lot
what they
about
want to
it, I
believe.
think.
That's
That's
you're
the big-
just a symbol. It's no big deal.
I don't know. It's just like I said, I think it's a shame they don't learn history.
Yeah.
And I just
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I don't think the General Lee looked near as good with the different kind of flag on it at all. But I just think it's a
Well,
shame where we're at and all
You,
that.
you know, they actually wanted people to, take all these people to take the flags off the car. They can't make you take it off. I've got a friend of mine, Senator Maynard in West Virginia. He's a state senator. Him and his dad built a General Lee when he was a young
Okay.
kid, and he was at 2004, 2005 Dukes Fest. And, now he's a state senator from West Virginia. And, we took the car up to the state capitol because they just got the dome redone. And we had the car out there and we did a little bit of a photo shoot on a Sunday. And I'll tell you what, all these people coming around and looking at this car and taking pictures. I just don't see it.
It don't.
But the
Common man
senator
could
would
care
not
less.
take it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm more interested in finding me a tater to eat or something than I am worried about a damn flag.
Well, take
We got
that
Copperhead Customs down there. He's just trying to survive, man. He lived down in Australia. He could die at any time, man. You never know when he gets snakebit.
He can have a piece of toast with Vegemite on it.
There you go. That's the only thing keep him alive. I'll guarantee you.
Well, I'll tell you what, Steve. You got to try that Vegemite.
I'm going to. I'm definitely. Yeah. I'm okay. Well, fellas, we brought over. We've been going at about an hour and a half. But anyway, Tom, we'll get over here and talk to you about your book and all that. And the folks that's listening out there, this is the man behind the General Lee, and we've got some links, and I got some links here that we can get you to. Tom, you go to his. I guess everybody's got Facebook and all that good stuff. So
Yeah, and we're on Facebook, and like I say, the easiest way to get to me is through my. I do have a web page, but a guy from Germany runs a web page, and I don't know if he's got it up yet, but you can get a hold of us, through. You can find us if you're interested in the book. You can find us, and hopefully, we're going to have it out maybe at Cooter's Place, for some sales. But we're going to be doing a lot of shows, and I'm going to have plenty of books around for that.
Tom, thank you so much for coming.
Hey, I'm glad. I'm just glad to be here with you and all those guys, especially that Australian guy.
There you go.
It's always good to hear those, because that reminds me of my friend Keith that used to come over in the 70s, and he used to load up these 40-foot containers of all these Chrysler parts, and I don't know how he got those things through the customs out there. I'll tell you, if he opened up those doors, it'd kill you.
Jeez. All right, man. We'll be looking forward to it, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys. Nice talking to all of you.
All right,
Thanks,
Nice talking.
Okay, bye now.
See ya. Well, that was pretty cool.
He's an interesting guy, man. He really is. I mean, he's got some history about him, but golly, I just think that's so cool. That book, I'd love to read it, and I don't want to get too far into it because I know that he wants people to buy it and read it. But now he was with the Dukes of Hazzard for a long time, with all them old cars and stuff like that. And now you even watched it down in Australia. I guess it had to be this. Y'all speak. I mean, English is like we do. I guess it would be the same thing. I mean, you remember watching it?
Yeah. That was like, I was only little, but that was my favourite show.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah. Oh, well, it only been like 5 or 6, but yeah, it used to be the same. It was out every once a week or whatever it was. It come,
How in the holy cow did you find Tom? Well, I've known Tom for a long time. I don't know how I found Tom. I don't know. That's crazy. I do a morning show. A lot of folks don't know that, but I do a morning show in the morning on Lake 97.7 called The Morning Dish. And so I've got to know all these people through that because I interview everybody you can think of, and I've got John Snyder. I've had him on and one thing and then another. But here's my thing is I'm a car guy because I lean towards the stuntmen and stunt drivers and the car fixers and that kind of stuff. And I'm not so much into the, the actors. I could care less about actors. They just go out there and be somebody they ain't. But like this guy here, I mean, how many hours a week did he work keeping these jalopy junk Dodge Chargers? And every one of them looked like they were brand new on TV,
And that's really the reason everybody watched that show. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm 46 years old now, and I still don't know if it's Bo or Luke that's the one, but I know what that Charger is.
Yeah. Who was your favorite on there?
The car.
The car. And Daisy. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. They ain't no good car movies anymore. Used to, there's all kinds of car movies.
Yeah, man. Chips. I used to like watching Chips. And
the other one with the red thing. What was that? Starsky and Hutch.
Yes, I am a huge Rockford fan. I like the Rockford Files. That was my favorite show throughout all eternity.
I never really watched it when I was a kid. Maybe I was too young to be watching it, but
I loved your Rockford Files.
I remember Knight Rider was never my thing. I always thought that was just a stupid show.
Yeah, I didn't care for Knight Rider. The car wasn't fast enough, and it wasn't jump. They didn't jump it enough.
I guess that's what it was. And it's Evil and Dukes of Hazzard stuff. I had that when I was a kid, and I had this one where it had the Evil Knievel one, and it also had a Charger, the Dukes of Hazzard Charger. And the Evil Knievel, you could rip the cord out of it and then set the bike down, and it would take off.
I had one.
I had that too.
The side of the slide, and I would do the same thing with the Charger. And
here's the thing, man. Evil Knievel was a real deal. You know what I'm saying? He got up on top of that ramp. He said, "I think I need to hit it about 80, maybe 85." That way they know exactly what speed. But back then he just gassed it and held on. Man, that guy was nerves of steel. Evil Knievel was one.
They fly literally.
Yeah.
I always liked that show, Sheriff Lobo, that come off from Smokey and the Bear.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah,
it was good. It was funny. We had a substitute teacher up here at Hot Towns County for a little while that looked exactly like that deputy. And anyway, I remember when I was I think it was about 7th grade. Seventh grade was my worst year. I was a troublemaker in 7th grade for some reason. But anyway, in the 7th grade, I watched an episode where that Deputy Perkins had went undercover, and he changed his name to the Skull. He was on a biker gang, and so and he got amnesia in that episode and everything. But anyway, and really thought he was a biker. But I come into class that day, whenever the next day, when the teacher walked in, I said, "The Skull!" About got through out of class.
Well, next week I got all these talking about the Fall Guy and all this stuff going on. Actually, I don't know if y'all know Tim Phillips, but everybody has watched Smokey and the Bandit. I'm sure did you watch Smokey and the Bandit down? Yeah, but anyway, Tim is a friend of mine, and how I got to know Tim, I'll never know that. But he's actually got, I think it's the Hooper truck. He's got the Hooper truck. But anyway, him and his buddy, they imitate Burt Reynolds in Smokey and the Bandit and Buford T. Justice. And it's Bandit and Buford tribute show. And they, honest to goodness, he in the last 5 or 6 years of Burt Reynolds' life, he got to kind of help Burt around with some of his stand-in as far as doing his meet and greets and stuff, because he would dress up like Burt because he looked just like him, and he'd drive the Trans Am in because Burt couldn't get in and out of the Trans Am. And the way he met him was, if y'all remember when they built the Trans Am for Burt Reynolds down at Year One?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Tim got involved in that and had a bunch of parts that they used when they did that thing. And that's why he got to meet Burt. And then they realized that he looked so much like Burt. He's like, "Man, you need to use this guy." So that's the way that Tim got involved with this. So then Burt passed away, and they just kept going with it. And then Sean Bailey does the Buford T. Justice, and he has practiced that up. Man, he has practiced that up. And it'll be pretty interesting next week. Hopefully I get Tim on next week to do this. Tim Phillips, no kin at all, but it's managandbuford.com tribute. But he's got all the memorabilia, but he actually helped build the Hooper car. He's fixing to go to auction again. The museum out here is closed down. The Smith, they're all gone. Everything's gone. So y'all have a lot of car museums down under, man. Do y'all have a lot of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, there's a few around.
Are they mainly American cars in there, or
Nah, they have everything, but a lot of the Australian stuff.
Right.
Yeah, probably
You got
more
any
Australian stuff than the
stuff?
American stuff in there.
You got any Mad Max stuff down there?
Yeah, I'm not sure where that is.
Man, I
They
love
had
it.
they auctioned the last movie they did. They auctioned all the cars off.
Really?
Yeah, they went for some stupid prices.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. But you couldn't use them. You can't use them for anything. You couldn't drive them on the road or anything.
Right. Yeah, they're just doing buggy.
I think people just buying for investments. They care less.
Yeah, they just stick them in their shed or whatever, and
Right.
they can bang their chest out what they've got.
Yeah. Well, Mad Max is the only person I ever knew that had that button to supercharger on and off. That's pretty amazing.
That was sweet, man. I want one of them buttons, man. We just
Yeah, you can't have that, can you? That can't work, can it?
Yeah, it works. Yeah, are you kidding? You just seen Master Button?
No,
Hey,
yeah.
Yeah, but in real life, I'm talking. You can't have that, can you?
All of that stuff, it's like today, if it's on the internet, it's real. But back then, if it was on the big screen, it was real.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like your air conditioner unit, man. It just clicks on, clicks off.
Yeah. All the bad guys are coming, and he flips the button, and it says boost, and he hits the button, then it shows the pulley going. I was like, wow, that doesn't happen.
How many people have died in wrecks because their car caught on fire and nobody would go help them because they've seen them on TV explode? You know what I'm saying? I've never seen a car blow up.
Yeah, that's My dad knew a guy that got rear-ended in a Pinto and never blew up. You know?
That's luck there. There's a Pinto, man. There is a picture on Facebook going around or on YouTube or wherever it's at, but a guy's got a Pinto and it's flamed. You know how everybody puts flames on their car? But it's backwards. The flames are coming from the back to the front. Oh, that guy's a genius. I love that, man. You'd have to own a Pinto to know, you know?
Yeah. I don't think I've had any cars catch on fire yet.
Yeah. I've had a few carburetor fires, but I guess
yeah. My Corvette in the shed last time I was trying to start it caught fire.
Did it really?
I didn't think I was getting it out. I was trying to put it out. It's actually the wife's car, and I was trying to start it, and she didn't know. But yeah, the whole engine bay was up, and then I had a panic and ended up. I grabbed the extinguisher and doused it. And, I don't think she would have been happy if I burned a Corvette now.
No, that would not. They have burned good too, man. That fiberglass goes up quick.
What year's
I've had one carburetor fire. Them glass fuel filters that screw together.
Oh yeah,
I will have.
Yeah.
If there's one on a car, that's the first thing I throw in the dang trash.
Same here.
Because them things are junk. Look, I don't know how in the world I ever got the car out. There wasn't a fire extinguisher. But I guess it finally just burnt the gas out, but there wasn't enough of the car to burn. So
I had a car that should have burned, and I don't know how it didn't. I ruptured a fuel pump. I was up in New York. I delivered magazines and debuted the newest issue of the magazine at a car show. I had a 73 Chevy Laguna station wagon. They only offered the Laguna in a wagon in 73. And after 73, you can only get them in two-door. So kind of rare car. They only made about 6,400 of them. And our home, big car, and I'm driving along and I can smell gas. And I hope that's not me. And I'm on a section of road in upstate New York that nobody's ever on. And I can smell the gas getting stronger, but I was catching up to a fuel truck. So, well, I'll back off and maybe it's not that. And I just got real sensitive to the heat coming through the firewall. And I started watching that yellow paint on the hood to see if it started changing color. And then all of a sudden, brown started coming out of the hood, right side of the car. And I'm going, oh man! I said, if I pull over on the side of the road here, I'm not going to move anywhere. I got to get to the next exit, and I'm just driving to fall, you know. And the next exit is Schoharie, which is like a real desolate town in upstate New York. And I'm going, man, what am I going to do? Who am I going to get a hold of? And I look down, and there's my buddy Phil Little's number. I just got it that weekend, sitting in the console of the car, and he happens to live in Schoharie. So I pull into this Dunkin' Donuts and I pull off into the grass so I don't need a hole in their parking lot. And I shut the car off and I open the hood and there was gas sizzling on the headers, sizzling on the intake. It filled the intake up. The fuel pump ruptured, ate all the paint off the underside of the hood and blew it all down the whole side of the car. The whole right side of the car was brown from bumper to bumper. And somehow that car did not ignite, and it should have for all intents and purposes.
Blowed me up. Up. My luck.
That is a miracle.
Yeah.
What kind of Corvette you got? I got to know about your bet.
Yeah.
C4.
Before? What year?
Yeah, 84 with that stupid throttle body. What are that crossfire injection thing? Yeah.
Crossfire. I got a crossfire. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
it.
My daughter.
Talking about fires, I had one of my race cars catch fire, and it was like a big jet coming out the back of it, like because I was still going. I didn't even know. I actually seen, like at the corner of my eye, it looked like I don't know. I thought one of my brakes had locked up a bit and it was glowing, but it was actually the fire from underneath the car. And they said in the communicator, number 9, you're on fire, pull up. So I've just like driven up to where the fireys were, and they squirted it out, and I didn't even turn the car off. I was on. I was pushing through the field. I got it up to second. I was like, I just want to keep racing. So that's no, it's all good. So off I went again, and we restarted, and it lit back up again. And I'm like, I just want to finish the race, man. I'm going to win this thing. Like, and yeah, what it was the oil line had popped, and it had shot it onto the brakes or something, and it ignited the oil. Yeah, so it was like, but the wife had footage of it going down the back straight, and there's just this big fireball coming out the back of the car. Like it looks pretty insane.
Yeah.
Cool. Chop Cat Industry says, well, gents, I'd better head back into the house. Cheers, y'all. So I guess cheers. That's what y'all say down there in Australia, ain't it? Cheers. Y'all say cheers in Australia?
Yeah, sometimes I think. Oh, we got lots of stupid sayings.
Yeah, I like them, man. I'm from the South, man. We're rednecks. We got more stupid sayings than you got.
I said to me, mate, I need to start writing some of the sayings down, so I'll come out with some of the stupid lingo when we do these things.
There you go.
We got yonk too. You ever heard of yonk too?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one.
Yonk too, like, hey, I'm gonna go get something to eat, or you wanna go, or yonk too, yonk. How would you say that in a sentence? Yonk to. It's like, do you want to? But
yeah, yep.
To, yeah.
Yonk
to. Jeet.
All right.
Jeet. You ever heard of jeet? It's like, did you eat? We just say.
Those are stupid.
That is words I use every single day, man. I'm not kidding.
Oh, what about thank your mother for the rabbits?
Yeah. What?
Rabbits and the mice, didn't mean it.
Thank your mother for the rabbits. Well, that was the thing in the old days. No one had a lot of money, and they used to eat rabbits.
Yeah.
So that's a thank your mother for the rabbits.
Yeah, that's it. I love them. Yeah, I love them. So
you guys are overrun with rabbits down there now, aren't you?
Pardon me?
Are you guys?
Oh, the rabbits. Yeah, there's millions of them.
Yeah.
Well, let's say they're good eating now. They really say rabbits. I've never eaten.
Oh, not the wild ones have like they like called myxomatosis or something. They all have crazy eyes, and you can't eat them. Yeah.
No.
Oh, really? Oh boy.
Yeah, disease-ridden things.
See, we're from the South. We'd eat them. We'd fry them things. Anything they make anywhere in the South, we're gonna fry them, man. It'll be
You saw us on. That's how it is down here. It's they fry butter.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You can go to get a stick of butter fried.
Yeah.
It's like
that's
like
Mars bars.
Food quicker.
You ever had a fried Mars bar?
No.
Oh, yeah. Mars bar. Yeah.
Is that what you have them there? Do you have Mars bars?
Oh yeah.
We got Mars.
Yeah.
The Milky Way midnights are my favorite ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put them in batter and fry them.
Yeah, they do that with Oreos up here.
Yeah, okay.
Oreos, anything. I'm telling you, we're in the South. If it's alive, if it's eatable, it'll be fried down here.
It's getting fried, is it?
Yeah, it'll get fried. Well, fellas, we got to get going, man. We've been on here about 2 hours, and I was just gonna hang in for an hour. But anyway, maybe we'll get together next week about the same time, same place, and hopefully I'll get Tim on next week, man. If y'all like Smoking the Bandit, we'll get to ask him. He is a Burt Reynolds guru, so he knows all about that.
Okay, so because he's like Steve, thank you for doing all this work all the time, but I think we got to put some of the load on the Australian down there. He's got to go get Mel Gibson on here so we can talk about Mad Max. So that's like,
yeah. Where's Mel at?
He's just in the house down the street. Yeah.
It's on over there. Kangaroo.
I love Mel Gibson. I'm gonna tell you, he's one of my favorite.
Or he can get Mick Dundee.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'll tell you, I'll put my hat on next week for you. I'll put me freaking Mick Dundee hat on.
There you go. There, that's not a knife. This is a knife.
Do you know any celebrities down there?
Nah, I don't know anyone. I stick to myself.
We don't know any of them.
Just tell everybody down there now that you personally know Stephen Phillips.
Oh boy, that ought to get you put in jail.
Yeah. I was hauling a load of scrap metal one time, and go down there to P Ridge, Stephen said, and tell them that you know me. And I went in down there. I know Stephen Phillips, and they looked at me like, so. It's a good thing it wasn't a court case, and I was going for the judge. I know.
Yeah, don't mention my name in court, man. Don't do that. Yeah, but anyway, fellas, I appreciate it. It's been fun again, no doubt. We'll be back next week, same time. I'll see if we get Tim on.
Okay.
And if you can't get mail, I'll wait to hear if you can get mail or not. If you can't get mail, I'll get Tim.
Okay.
All right.
Just call him up. It can't be too hard to get a hold of.
Folks, y'all out there, go check out all these. We got the Copperhead Customs on up here. Give them away, Copperhead Customs. We got Sean Fat Tire Guy Thomas and Eastern Hot Rodder. And then I'm Steve Phillips with Phillips Run Drip and Bubble Company. We appreciate you subscribing and helping us out. And they got some cool deals going on. Eastern Hot Rodder, he just got a big Thunder Chicken in. And we got Copperhead Customs is right now fixing to crank and drive this truck he's been working on. I know it's coming. I know it's coming. And then Sean, he's sitting in front of his brand new liquor barn. He's going to start making illegal moonshine in that barn right there.
I've got that satellite. That's my big build.
There you go. Yeah.
Motor machine shop jail. So maybe it'll get paroled here soon.
There you go. All right, fellas. Good talk to y'all again. Y'all be good.